Hello, I'd like to share with you my first impressions and unboxing of an IconBIT K7 E-Bike. I didn't buy this in the normal way. I bought this from an auction house who are selling a whole bunch of these things. The auction house, you can see from the box, is John Pye Auctions. So I have actually already opened this. You can see the box is in a very sorry state, and when the delivery driver arrived with it, he suggested I open the box and see what condition it's in, and it's not good, I'm sorry to say. But let's take a look. So we have a bicycle, which is good. Right. So all the packaging that goes with this is some grey paper. Fantastic. So that's the bicycle in its basic form. I did actually take the seat post out of the box earlier while I was having a quick look at this, because I've been in touch with IconBIT about getting some spare parts. So I'm going to pause this video here and go and get the seat post for it before we go any further. Bear with me. So by the magic of YouTube, I'm back with the piece that I took out, or rather fell out of the box earlier, which is the seat post. So let's have a look what we have. So just on the subject of the shipping, about a week before I won this auction, I contacted John Pye with my current address, and they sent it to my old address. And hopefully you can't read the address labels, but you'll see there are two address labels on there. It was a bit of a challenge, shall we say, to get them to send this to the correct address, but eventually it turned up. So just a word of warning, if you do decide to buy anything from auction at John Pye, don't ever change your address. They can't cope with it. On the packaging side, I also bought a few other things from them, including from one of their other branches, some sledgehammers. They were individually wrapped in bubble wrap. This bicycle, as you saw, came in a box with some paper. I don't understand the logic for that either. It was a different branch. This came from their Welsh branch, I think it's in Port Talbot, and the sledgehammers came from, I think, Chesterfield. Just while we've got the oh, that's nice. Saddle stem here, or the seat post here. A couple of things I noticed about it. It's a nice thick gauge of aluminium, and I don't know if you can see inside, but there's little splines or reinforcing ridges that go down the length of the tube to give it a bit more strength, and that is a very solid piece of aluminium. And the other thing that's nice about it, you don't always see this on folding bikes, are graduations. So once you know where your preferred saddle height is, if you fold the bike up and unfold it, you can very quickly set it to your ideal height. Talking of unfolding, let's give it a go. Gonna pop this around the other way, a bit concerned about this. Oh dear, that's not good. Oh my lord. That chain is rusted solid. That is disgusting. This is clearly a second-hand, I'm guessing, customer return bicycle. And that's the thing, you can go to an auction house and view it before you bid on something. Most people don't, because, well, I don't live in Port Talbot in this case, So you can't complain if what, oh dear, yeah, if what you get isn't quite what you're expecting. There's a kickstand on this which is, well, it's falling off, very, very loose. Okay, so far so good. The bike itself, I have to say, is quite nice. This was something I noticed when the DPD driver dropped it off. This bolt, it's a captive bolt that connects here, and this is the bit, I don't know if you remember seeing a hole inside of the box. That's the bit where it was sticking through the box. That's been bashed in that corner in transit, and because it wasn't properly packaged, that's sheared. Rather more worryingly, as I look at this, there's a little bit of damage to these hook parts, which is interesting. It's not clear, to me at any rate, what they hook onto. Okay, so we've got a handlebar stem, clamps off centre, never mind, it's a minor consideration. So what I was hoping to get, I've got an aluminium shard there, what I was hoping to get, of course, was a display bike from a retail store. And I believe these bicycles came from a high street retailer that ran into some financial issues and went into liquidation. And they sold off obviously a bunch of product. The receivers would have liquidated whatever they could. So just having a look at the bike itself, this is fun. So there should be a clamp here to hold the handlebars on, that's okay. The stem clamp, oh, nice little feature. This also has milk grads on, so you'll be able to set your handlebar height very easily. So that needs a little bit of attention. We've then got these cables here. Okay, let's see what's going on. So if you apply the brakes on an e-bike, it should cut the motor out straight away. Cables seem to be working quite nicely. These are little micro switches which make that happen, and these have on the brake levers, by the way appear to be metal, which is quite nice. Little recesses into which these micro switches sit, I guess. Well, I'll have a play with that. In my own time, so to speak. Oh, the bell works. Okay, yeah, that kind of works. We'll sort them out. So that's the handlebars. Yeah, let's take a look at the drivetrain. Chains rusted, freewheel cassettes rusted, or freewheel hub. Pedals fold and turn, that's good. Let's pop the saddle in this. Saddle clamp. That's interesting, saddle clamp has a grub screw to stop it twisting, which is a nice touch. Good touch there by IconBIT. And I have to say, as a bicycle, as I'm looking at this, although this is a second-hand one that's been sent out into the wild, let's say, it's obvious when this was a new product, a lot of care and thought's gone into the design and build of this. There's a lot of nice touches here that I'm seeing. Let's pop that in place. There we go. I'll just loosen that up. So the thing with any bicycle, if you have an adjustment like that, or you have to do something with a spanner or a screwdriver, you want to tighten it up so that it grips, but you don't want to over tighten it so that it crushes the part that you're trying to secure. So that's now solid, but it's not too stiff in operation. There's no clamp here. I believe there should be. That's probably going to be replaced with a nut and bolt, and again, that only needs maybe 5 or 6 Newton meters of torque, which is just so it's gripping. You don't want to be cranking down on tools and crushing parts if you ever work on a bike. Bicycles are really short wheelbase. That is a thing, isn't it? Golly gosh. It's going to be interesting to see how this handles if I ever get it working. Wow. So the $64 question, does it light up? Do the electrics work? This is, I've tightened this up slightly, I've tightened it up quite a lot, but this is the kickstand. That's not meant to kick in that direction. Surely not. Okay, we'll look at that later. Let's prop this up here. So this is the battery. It says USB here. It's lighting up. Here we go. It's got a rating plate on the side here. $5 Interesting. I've seen these advertised as either having 5.2 amp hours or 6 amp hours, and this one is marked as 6 amp hours. I'm quite keen to just look at this for signs of external damage, because 6 amp hours isn't very much in e-bike terms, but it's quite adequate for house fire terms. However well made this was when it was factory fresh and new, if this has been crushed or damaged in any way, all manufacturers of lithium-ion batteries are aware of how much energy is in them. You only need to ask Sony with their laptops or Samsung with their mobile phones about issues with lithium-ion batteries. So what we also have here, nice mounting plate. There's a combination lock here, so it's possible to secure the battery on the bike. I would imagine these are quite expensive to replace or to get refurbished. Dear oh dear. This was obviously a pretty good quality brake rotor at one point, but it's rusted out now. Let's pop this back on. It does just feel a little bit loose inside. It does concern me a little bit. So there we have it. That's the unboxing of my, sadly it would seem broken, IconBIT K7. First impressions are, the bike is very compact. It's going to be quite interesting to see how it runs. I like some of the components I've used on it, both pedals fold. Sometimes on folding bikes only the pedal on the inner side folds and they put a rigid pedal on the other side because it doesn't make it any smaller when it's folded. I like the fact it comes with mud guards. These have had a hard life, but mud guards, I mean, these are really intended for a last mile type solution. You get off the train, you unfold your bike and you cycle the last mile to work. And mud guards, if you're wearing office clothes or work clothes, they're going to save you quite a lot on your laundry bill, let's say. So mud guards are good. There's a chain guard on the front. Yeah, I'm just looking at the frame. The welding is lovely, actually. You've got a kind of a triangle formed here for strength, I would imagine, that you don't always see on a folding bike. But when you look at a welded aluminium frame, it's kind of a convention to have really chunky, ugly welds. And you can see here where somebody's gone around this with a, I guess with a welding rod. I presume it was done by a machine, in fact. But they tend to be quite ugly. It's almost a way of indicating it's aluminium. But IconBIT have welded these seams, welded these joints in that chunky way, because you have to externally weld aluminium. It's quite difficult to work with, but it's very smooth. I'm liking that a lot. So let's just see if the handlebars light up without these. I suppose we could fiddle it. I was going to say without these micro switches connected and with the chain seized up as well, it's not going to kick the motor in. But let's have a play. Okay, so this is not, oh hang on. There would seem to be 2 power switches. Okay, so we have life. About 40% charge in the battery. If I can get this chain to spin, and I hold these micro switches in, how am I going to do this? Nope, can't do that. I need an extra hand, or I need the kickstand working. So there it is. I'd hoped to get a fun little toy to play around on this week. What I appear to have got is a restoration project, but that's okay. I'm confident that this can be brought back to life and be turned into a fun little folding e-bike. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to know more, there will be a follow-up video once I've got this thing working, and hopefully in the fullness of time, oh dear, the wheels aren't turning, in the fullness of time there will be a first ride video as well. Thanks very much for your time.